Well, hey there, everyone. My name is Jeremy Smith. Y'all know these guys, Roy Ausley and Bryce Early. They came to y'all a couple weeks ago with a video about what we're doing at St. Mark and in Crestview in general, and we just wanted to continue that conversation. So Bryce, just fill us in on what y'all talked about in that last video.
Yeah, one of the exciting things that's going on is just the explosive growth that we're having at St. Mark. We're seeing the children's building just busting at the seams. We see our worship attendance going up approximately 500 every week now, and God's just doing some really cool things. So we're looking at a capital stewardship campaign where we're going to be adding on to the children's building, doubling the size of it, opening up the sanctuary, adding more seats there, and some more parking to be able to assist.
Yeah, and that children's building is just desperately needed, I know. And we're also talking about another campus as well, right?
We are. Yeah, we definitely are. Up in North Crestview or somewhere in that area that God will lead us eventually to be able to place another campus to reach more people for Christ, because we know that our property at St. Mark, after we build this, is going to outgrow itself very quickly and we're going to become very saturated.
Well, I think that's awesome. We can all get excited about a children's building. But what about it? I think there's a lot of questions about a capital stewardship campaign and another campus. And so I just want to talk about that a little bit and ask some of the questions that we've been hearing. The first one is just this. Why do we even need another campus in Crestview when St. Mark is doing so well?
Yep. Well, I think that's a great question to ask, and that's why we keep trying to share with all of you what is taking place at St. Mark. How the growth has been explosive, and it's not going to be very long before we max out the property.
Right.
And basically, when that happens, then you have to start saying, okay, no more people can come. We're turning people away. The kingdom of God is no longer growing, and I just don't want to be in that kind of position. No. I would send you up there and say, no, you can't come anymore. So, obviously that lends us to say, so what do we need to do? And it goes to another campus, because we can do the same kind of thing that we're doing at St. Mark in another location. And the thing is, you don't want to just wait until you're maxed out and then say go. You start planning now and looking forward and taking some steps, because that all be in God's timing. That'll be an important part of it too.
Yeah, and Crestview's just busting at the seams on top of that, right? So, Bryce, let me ask you this. We kind of see the need a little bit for another campus, but what would that other campus even look like?
Well, I think one of the successes we've seen at St. Mark is the young families that we're reaching. And they have little bitty babies. They have little kids. Right. I think that's our demographic that God is giving us, that we're being very successful at. And so I see taking the church to them, and maybe in the North Crestview area. As Roel said, Crestview is growing. What better place of all our surrounding area to do that in? And so I see a contemporary format that we're reaching young families for Christ that aren't being reached anywhere else. They really aren't.
And ministry-wise, it would be much like St. Mark and Niceville. Our big rocks are great worship service, next generation ministries with children and youth, small groups, always a very important component, and then reaching out in the community, missions into the community. And of course, we'd be able to put some of our ministries together. We wouldn't duplicate everything at another campus like St. Mark and Niceville. The senior adult ministries are together, and I could foresee other ministries with St. Mark being together.
We might take the preschool and have one preschool, but both campuses would be able to utilize that, and student ministry. And we might even have one small group, home group person that helps both campuses arrange and organize those.
And I love those ideas. Go to the people, and we're going to keep on expanding the kingdom of God. So one last question. I think this is a really pertinent question for our area. In these uncertain economic times, is it really smart to do a capital stewardship campaign?
Well, all times to me are uncertain.
Right, that's true.
We never know what the future is, and if we waited to a perfect time, we'd be paralyzed. We'd never do anything. And I just couldn't live with that option of not doing anything while we know we can reach more people. So I just think that, the main thing is to seek God and His timing, and no matter what the economic times are, no matter what the situations are going on, if God's leading us to do something, He'll make a way.
That's right.
And depending on what all our economic situations are, God will lead us and show us, what we should do and how we'd be a part of that. So I think we should go forward with God's leading and not an over concern with the economic times.
Well, I hope y'all know that, we're just prayerfully considering this, and we'd ask you to prayerfully consider what God is doing here at Niceville UMC, in Niceville and in Crestview as well. And keep on asking questions. Rule wants to answer your questions.
I love
Every day. Every day.
No, we're glad that you're here with us today, and we just wanted to talk a little bit about that, and we'll be continuing the conversation as we go.